So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are talking to a couple of two couples today, which is a very rare scenario for us. We've typically either spoken with patients or we've spoken to caregivers, but today we've got couples. And clearly, it's part of the Valentine Day Special, and we are here early today. So thank you, and quick introduction on Patients Engage. As some of you already know, we are an online platform which has been now operational for over 5 years, and we are focused on evidence-based and holistic management of chronic conditions, largely from the perspective of patients and family caregivers. As you're aware that we are very focused on lived experiences and very strongly believe that if you are informed and engaged and proactive about your own health, you will be better empowered and you will make better decisions which lead to better quality of life. And there's a lot you can learn from experiences of other patients and other caregivers. We've been doing these webinars for a long time, especially on cancer. In the last 1 year, we've done a wide range of topics, covering issues of fitness, body image, side effects, lymphedema. We've talked about bladder cancer and dealing with stoma bags. We've talked of bone marrow transplants, oral cancer, talked of challenges of communicating with children about cancer and how the children deal with it, issues of head and neck cancer, as well as cancer prevention and risk reduction. So today we have with us two special couples. We've got with us Dilip and Neelu Mevada. Dilip had multiple myeloma a few years ago, and he will give us a quick introduction about himself. And Aarti had breast cancer, so she's here with her husband, Vijaykumar. Our moderators are Urvi and I will moderate the session. And Urvi is also a breast cancer survivor, and I am the founder of Patients Engage. Quick reminder to our attendees, the information that we are discussing here is based on the experience of panelists, and it's not to be taken as medical advice. So for any medical issues, please do consult your doctor. The session is being recorded. If you're logged into Zoom, you can post your questions on the Q&A. We will take them. As well as if you're on Facebook, you can post them on the live feed and we'll take it from there as well. And as always, you can follow our website. You can follow our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And you can write to us at editor@patientsengage.com. So let's get started. Because I think we've got a lot of ground to cover with our panelists. So thank you once again, Dilip, Neelu, Aarti, and Vijay for joining us today. Let's start with Dilip. If you can talk to us about your, when you were first diagnosed, and you had a very interesting experience there as well. So if you can just talk us through that.
So viewers, very good evening. I was diagnosed in 2010 June. We were holidaying in New Zealand, and I was absolutely, the holidays, we completed around 18 days of holidaying in New Zealand, and I was too tired. I was resting in the room, and then all of a sudden, when I got up, I fell down, and I realized that all of a sudden, below the belt, both the legs were totally numb, and I had become a paraplegic. The next day, we caught a flight and we came back to Mumbai. And after a series of investigations, doctor diagnosed that there is a tumor in the spine and it needs to be extincted. So surgery is inevitable. So next surgery was performed. And doctor told me that probably you may not be able to walk. But let's see what happens because the cord is completely compressed. The surgery was performed. Doctor asked me to lie down straight for 6 months. and wait for this thing. And after 4 days, another doctor came, hematologist, and he said, Dilip, you are suffering from a multiple myeloma, and that too, with the spine surgery and the, this spread over the complete vertebra and acetabulum and, pelvic bones and ribs. So it's too much of a spread. So we'll start the chemotherapy. So this is how I was diagnosed.
Right, right. And you had the prognosis was not very good, right? Because of the spread.
Yes, yes, yes. That time, actually, somehow the other, looking at the doctors and their, body language and all these things. Even I thought, because the situations were like that I may not be able to survive more than 40, 50 days. Very, huge history from my parents, both the parents' side. From father's side, three cancers, three people died. My grandfather, my uncle, and my two of uncles. And from my mother's side, Nana, Nani, two mamas and mommy and mama's son, they had died. So X chromosome, huge history.
Right.
And I had seen all these things. I used to take them to the hospitals and meet doctors. And after that, I was diagnosed with, I knew the outcome. And doctor, I realized that, something is really, really, really bad. And I may not survive for a longer period.
Right, right. Okay.
That was,
go ahead. You were saying.
Doctor asked me to, start the chemotherapy. I said, no, I don't want to. I will come after 5 days. And I went home. He took me discharge. He gave me discharge. And then that 5 days, I planned my, the future. Whatever, the burden which I used to carry on my shoulder, I relieved from there, completely offloaded. And then after 5 days, I went to doctor. And surprisingly, the other doctor, the spine surgeon, he didn't have hopes that I may be able to walk or not. But in 5 days, I had started walking against his advice. Take me 1 hour to walk 20 feet. So that's how, and that complete walk, it took me 28 months normally.
Right.
Neelu was for me.
Yes. I think, Neelu, can you tell us, from your perspective, how it was, right? First, starting with the point where he couldn't move on in New Zealand, and then getting him back, under medical care back to India, and dealing with this diagnosis and those 5 days, as he said. Talk us through that. बताइए आपको क्या लग रहा था?
That was shock. Before in New Zealand, we just take it lightly. We are joking on him कि आप स्नो में बहुत ज्यादा खेले, so your leg become numb. We are thinking that only कि because of snow उसका पैर सब नम हो गया है, चलो अपन बॉम्बे पहुंचते हैं, फिर देखेंगे. And we landed to Bombay, and then whatever happened, Dilip told. So the memories of all holidays are gone. Then after surgery, when doctor shared this news, that was very shocking, but we have to accept it. That 24 hours was very horrible for me, for every. But Dilip was on the bed, but my children, they are young. One is 12th and one is in second year.
Right.
So my children told me कि मम्मी देखो अभी जो होना था वो तो हो गया है. Now up to you. If you will take it seriously, it goes on your body or on your face, that is not going to survive.
Right.
So अब आपके ऊपर है कि डैडी को असर करे, इसके लिए ना you don't change. My house, I am the bubbly person in my house. All want halla gulla and masti. So if you change your behavior, so daddy ko lagega something is wrong, like that. And mummy accept that, whether it is 40 days or 4 months or 4, we will enjoy each and every day as a last day. We
Right.
don't anything means sadness कि अभी पापा को कुछ हो जाएगा, हम लोग क्या करेंगे, वो थिंकिंग लाना ही नहीं है. सोचोगे वो आपको मिलेगा.
Right.
Best support, because that time I was totally blank. So I put this thing, this seed in my mind कि it
Right.
is on you.
Right.
आप जितना अच्छा रहोगे पापा उतना अच्छे से जल्दी होएगा. That was my line, and from that day we are started living that today is the last day.
Right.
7 years. The last day is not coming.
Good. How old were your sons, just so that we set the context?
18 years old, and yes, and now they are
That time
12. So 18, 19 years, and other one is 20.
Right.
2 years gap between them.
Right.
And my younger son had a bike accident 2 years earlier before this. Had an experience. One of doctor told him, "See, you are young, Yash. If you want to die, you will die, and if you want to live, nobody can take you away." So he told dad also कि पापा देख, आपने सोचा कि मैं गया, मैं मर गया तो आप गए, बट कि नहीं मैं जिंदा ही रहूं तो आपको कुछ नहीं होगा.
Right.
So, for both of us na, our kids are really
Right.
how to
That wisdom. See, the person who is touching the, they go and come back. He had a massive,
accident.
He had ruptured his right lung.
Right.
And adrenal gland, there was an hemorrhage, and that broken ribs was pierced into the liver.
Right.
He was very, very serious. He was hospitalized for more than one month. Was to undergo a liver surgery. He avoided that. So
Right.
he had experience. So that the day when I was detected, he told me only thing, Papa, you have only two options. If you are going to die, that means God will also not help you. But decide that I want to live, then the universe is going to help you. So that is when you decide what you want to do.
Right.
And that was the turning point in my life. That was the first turning point. The whole perception, irrespective of उस दिन आकाश फट गया था, धरती फट गई थी, भूचाल आ गया था, सब कुछ था, but still we were stable. And one more thing which I would like to say that we have a fantastic yoga coach. We have a fantastic
yoga coach.
Right. I think we'll come to that. How you cope with it, we'll come to that. Let's hear from Aarti and Vijay as well. Aarti, you also have an interesting experience of, kind of diagnosis. And so if you talk us through your diagnosis and, Vijay, step in terms of, or maybe you can tell us later how you felt about it. So go ahead, Aarti.
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Parna, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And warm hugs, Mr. Dilip. Just to listen, it was pretty scary. So anyway, we actually moved from US in 2017 back to India. Me and my children, we moved first. My husband was supposed to move back in December 2017, but we moved in May due to the children's school admission and stuff.
Right.
moved back, and life was all perfect, beautiful, normal. I finished my physicals in US before I came.
Mm.
Everything was normal. There was no hint of any, like something illness or sickness or something like that. So it was Diwali 2017. I just felt a lump in my breast, and that too,
Right.
it was not a see on a. I was not checking it on a serious note. It was casually. I just kind of itched it, and I just found something obstructing.
Mm.
So I just went to my gynec and said something is there. So I had actually, when my children were born, I had abscess, which comes due to the lactation. So I was
Right.
thinking, my son was just 4 years at that time. So I was just thinking might be something like that. And so I just went to gynec, and she told me to just go for a ultrasound scan. Even she knew me, and she said, I think it looks like something, maybe something related to lactation or something like that. So then I went and took an ultrasound. I didn't, I, the ultrasound doctor, she didn't look good actually. Like, she was sounding little skeptical, like, I think you should go have to check this and kind.
Mm. Mm.
Then I had no idea what the scan reports were talking, because absolutely we don't have any history of cancer in the family, either sides. So, and I am also a very active person, and I never thought that anything would come and hit me like this out of the blues.
Right.
I then went to my gynec, and she saw the report. She didn't tell me anything. She just said, you go, and she wrote a reference letter, and she gave it to another doctor. So she is oncologist.
Oncologist. Right.
Yeah, even I don't even know what was oncologist at that time. Like, because we know only gynecology, MBBS. That's all cardiologist, maybe maximum. So otherwise, I don't even know that there was a department called oncology. So I just went, and even at that time, I was not like, sure that it might be something like this. So I just went there. She immediately did again an ultrasound, and then she did some needle biopsy. It was all like very quick. It just happened like that. And she said, let me see, I've sent it to some test. She said that was the first time I heard the word biopsy. So she said, I will send the reports later. You can come back, I'll call you. So that 10 days was the biggest wait of my life. I by then I had Googled everything, what was there in the scan report, and I thought something was wrong. And Vijay was still in the US. So I was telling him, if it is just a minor surgery, or if it is not a cancer thing, I think I can do it myself. You don't need to rush and come. But if it is something like malignant and things like that, then I think I need you immediately. That's what I told him. He said, don't worry, let's okay. But he didn't think that it might be something like this. So, but we have that gut feeling, right? That something wrong. Karke. So I thought, whenever I see that scan cover, right, I'll used to rush to the restroom. That's it. I think something is wrong. So that 10 days was horrible. Then I took my mother there from the hospital. They called me, and I took my mother along with me to the doctor. And she was like, there I had a wait time of 3 hours because of the patient. So she said, she asked me, like, are you nervous? And I said, yeah, I am. Then she said, yeah, it is malignant. So that is it. So, and I kind of, broke down. All that happened. I just came back. She asked me to calm down, but it was too much to take it at that point. And he was also not there with me. So came back, I think November 16th or something. 13th, yeah. 13th, she told me that. 16th evening, my husband was back. He just finished off everything there, packed it off, and he was back 16th. And by 24th, it was removed. Like, it was a very small, I caught it pretty quick
Mm.
without any, what is that, indications or
Right.
any, because I didn't have any symptoms. No, my periods were normal, health-wise, blood report, everything was normal.
Yeah.
So if at all I have to thank God that He helped me to, spot it just by way of itching it.
Right.
So it was a 2 centimeter monster. So then we got it removed, and then she said, then it took some time, to take it. My parents had come down, my in-laws were there, so my brother came down. So it was all, that was the starting. So it was those stage 1, and it was too much for us to take at that time because no history, nothing, and
Right.
that's how it started. And more than that, I was just 36, and my son was 4 years old. My daughter was just 12. No, not even 12, 10 years old. My daughter was 10. So more than all this, the thought which comes to your mind is chemotherapy. Your hair is losing. You're losing your. You're young. How can I face the world? This, that. So
We'll come to hair loss. I think I'd like to first bring in Vijay as well.
Yeah.
You were there. How was it?
Yeah, I was almost kind of getting the details every other day, every other minute in terms of what was happening. And, I thought, okay, this was probably not the case because she had a case of breast abscess when Aditya was born, as she mentioned. So I thought maybe it's something related to that and it should be fine. I never thought this was the case, but nevertheless, she kind of kept hinting me that there's something wrong. So by then I had already alerted my boss when I was there. I said that could be something coming out of this. So if that is the case, then I have to kind of leave immediately.
Right.
So I think at this juncture, I need to thank my organization, kind of, they said, just drop everything, pack your bags and leave. Not a problem. I was supposed to actually leave the next month. So this happened in November. Was supposed to wind up things end of December and come back.
Right.
Yeah, as she said, I was there, I think 96 hours after hearing the news.
Right.
And it's happened so fast that, you really don't know what's happening, right? I was completely clueless, so I couldn't do Googling and all that because I never thought this was the case. And after hearing the news, it was all about winding up things.
Right. And getting back.
Getting back, selling off whatever that I could within those short span of time and then come back here. So that was what was running through. And after landing here, talking to her and then meeting the doctor, that's when I kind of got the gravity of the situation. So it was like a big thing for us then. As she said, there's no history in my family, in her family.
Right.
And, I think thanks to her, when she kept, she was strong even then. I still remember when I landed, she attended I think my cousin had a wedding that day. So she went to the reception and came back. So I think she was, although she was down, but she did,
we couldn't tell them that it was a very close relative's wedding. So we couldn't say, how can you just tell them that something like this has happened? Yeah. So we are not able to attend the wedding. And everybody will start asking us why she's not there. So I just thought, chalo, I'll just go and come.
So it was just the starting of a long battle, I would say. We just got to know that as a small thing, but it turned out to be, I think we will come to that. In terms of how that transpired. But it all started there.
Right. And in terms of, I think you brought up the point of how do you communicate, right? And I think Dilip and Neelu talked about talking to their kids. Your kids were younger. How did you talk to your kids about it?
We just, at that point in time, as they were too young to kind of even tell them that we were going, she's affected. And my son was also actually getting accustomed to the place here. I mean,
Right.
he got
Just
into
moved
the new
back
school.
here.
Yeah, my daughter actually studied here, and we went in 2015. So her time to acclimatize was quite fast. But my son was just trying to get used to living here, and obviously he didn't want to give them any indication at that point in time. In fact, we didn't know how her recovery will happen. So we knew that there is a surgery, but the doctors actually they were actually trying to know what's going to happen, right? I mean, so they were also not clear as to how this diagnosis will be.
Right.
No, actually, my son was too young. So 4 years, I don't think he will understand what is cancer. So my daughter, we didn't say that it was cancer, but we just told her I don't know whether she understood at that time what was cancer also. So we just told her that I'm sick, something was bad in my body and that has to be removed. So the surgery was done until then. So I didn't have to, the chemotherapy and all came later.
Right.
So it was just initially because I keep running all the time. My children have never seen me sitting in one place. So that was the first time, like after the surgery, I had to sit quiet without doing anything. And so that was pretty different for them. So we didn't have to explain it to my son. So my son thinks it was maybe a fever or cough, and why is she sitting like this for all? Something has happened. My daughter was kind of guessing something was wrong. You're not telling me kinds, but we took some time to tell her.
Right. And the rest of the family? Sorry, Vijay.
Yeah, we thought, it was just an operation and then she should be fine, because she was supposed to do a lumpectomy in 2 weeks' time after I came. So we thought she should be fine after that. We didn't know the rigmarole of the treatment at that point in time.
Right.
The doctor said may or may not need chemotherapy at that point. So they were also not sure. So we thought, let's lie low. We didn't want to kind of give them any shock at that point in time. And they were very young, as Aarti mentioned.
We built up on our vocabulary, after one by one, okay, chemotherapy, this, that, oncologist, this one, some Tomies, and it was all pretty new for us too. So, yeah, parents, they were quite shocked, and my father was like, actually, we went to a doctor to take a second opinion. So whether they were actually what they were saying was true or not, and so I took my father actually there, and he was like, my father was in denial, like how can something happen to my daughter? Nothing can happen. So we were actually talking to the oncologist, and he was like, he said, yes, it is cancer, it was malignant. That's what the report says. And I was asking him whether my hair is going to fall. And so my doctor was like, come on, I'm saying that you're having cancer and you're worried about your hair. So that was the knowledge we had at that time. And my father, he was sitting behind me, and he was like, nothing, right? Nothing. I still remember, she'll be fine, right? She'll be fine, right? That's what he had been asking the doctor, and he was completely in denial. So, but before Vijay could come, I had to go to that MRI, this, that, everything. I had to take my father and go. So I had to battle it out alone, going into that MRI thing, and it was pretty shattering. It was a horrible experience.
Yeah. I know, Dilip, you sat your sons down, right, and talked to them, and they were obviously, as you said, very supportive. But how did you communicate to the rest of your family?
The first thing which came to when this news came, because I knew everything, what is going to happen and all that thing. So we made up a mind. Actually, we sat together that this is it. We have a habit of sharing everything every evening, every night. We used to share, right from the child, my parents, they were born. We had kept that particular thing. So that was, we are habituated to that. And we said, we will definitely tell them. So I personally called each and everybody, told them that it is a bone marrow cancer, but you need not have to worry about it, right? And you need not have to rush to come to Mumbai to see me. Suppose बाहर आता है तो आप क्या मुझे देखने आते हो? You don't come. I'm perfectly all right. And after the treatment is over, we will come to see you.
Right.
Don't bother about it. So that's how, in very soft spoken words, and that we, restricted all those, visitors. That was thing which we did. Of course, few were there. We with whom I wanted to, share everything, because I knew what is going to happen 40, 50 days. So I need to talk to them. So we did that.
Right.
Otherwise, I got a tremendous amount of support from both my kids, both son Raj and Yash, and Neelu, and a few of my good friends. Actually, they understood me. They knew it everything. Yeah, and I had opened everything. My life was like one book. So everything we made it very simple. Actually, what I had learned was acceptance. This is what I had learned. So that acceptance immediately, within 3 days, I had accepted that yes, I do have a cancer, and I am not immortal. When I was born, my destiny was written that I am going to go. So if this is going to be the reason, I am going to go. So let me go peacefully. So there is absolutely no. So that acceptance made me realize to another thing which I had gone for some 15, 20 years back. I had attended few seminars. So in seminars also I had learned that forgiveness is also a biggest part. I made a big list of people whom I have never even knowingly or unknowingly I have never told acknowledged, or I have never apologized or something like that. I made a big list, and I kept on calling whole throughout all 15, 16 hours. I kept calling them. That day I had not knowingly or unknowingly, I should have acknowledged, or I should have said sorry, and all that thing. I had impacted your life or something like that. And today I am so I made everything clear. So my account books, that profit and loss, I made it very clear, simple. So that forgiveness made me absolutely, that gave me freedom. So, all those things, जिसको बोलते हैं ना, माल मिलकत, रुपया पैसा, bank balance, everything. I had given the power of attorneys also. Within 2 days, that I had introduced few of my friends, my brother, that you do this business, that everything. I made a will also, everything completely. Within 2 days, I did that. And myself free. Now that night, I tried to sleep. कि अब जिंदगी में क्या बाकी रह गया? To sleep. I जिंदगी में क्या बाकी रह गया? So whatever I used to think, that time I was 48. So I used to think in 48 years of time, whatever I was thinking, ये बाकी रह गया, थोड़ी देर में बाद में समझ में आता था कि नहीं, ये तो हो गया है. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I could not write anything. I am a person who writes everything in the diary.
Right.
So I have a habit of writing. So I could not write anything. Diary was blank. I realized that मेरी जिंदगी में सब कुछ हो गया है. And what to worry about all these things, cancer or whatever it is, let it be there. Let me sleep now. So I went to. Now 6 o'clock I got with a thought that अब तो मुझे जिंदा नहीं रहना है. With that kind of a thought, इससे तो मर जाना अच्छा है. Because in hospital, with a push bell, nurse आ जाती थी या ward boy आ जाता था. He used to take care of me. Here, I was bedridden completely. I was not allowed to get up also. So all that susu potty work and all that things, either Neelu does, my mother does, or my son does. So I not happy with that because I am too young to do all these things, right? मुझे उनकी सेवा करनी चाहिए, उसकी जगह पे ये क्या हो रहा है? Next second, the other thought, be like, no, मैं कायर नहीं हूँ. I'm not a coward, so that I will die. Third thought, immediate the third thought. And I saw, this greatest physicist that he's on a
Stephen
wheelchair.
Hawking. Stephen Hawking.
Right. So with one finger, he is the greatest physicist, but he is on a wheelchair. I don't want to be on a wheelchair. Right. And next thought, better get up. And that's how within 4 days I got up and I started walking. Right. So that was turning point again. This is the second turning point in my life. Walk. And went to doctor for the chemotherapy on 21st because I was discharged on 15th. And doctor was shocked, completely shocked. He changed the the medication also. He was to give me the injection, IV chemotherapy, but then he shifted to tablet chemotherapy.
Right.
And that cycle started. So after 6 cycles, in fact, doctor had suggested me to go for a bone marrow transplant also, autologous bone marrow transplant.
Right.
We were contemplating that also, whether to do that or not, all these things. So Neelu wanted to, she didn't wanted a transplant to be done in India because myeloma, autologous bone marrow transplant was very few or 10 years back.
Right.
Very few transplants were done. So she was worried about that. Already we had, 40, 50 days wala, that scenario was also there. And she is a brave lady. On 29th of July, 30th July is our wedding anniversary. I let us sell off our house and office, everything, and accumulate. And we'll go to US or maybe UK and we'll do the autologous stem cell transplant. So immediately she said, without even thinking, like, yes, done. Within 5 days, we sold off everything and came to Kandivali on a rental place. Now I was unable to walk. Still we did all these things. People used to laugh at us. ये आदमी पागल हो गया है, बीवी बच्चों को रोड पे रख देगा. But yes, both son and Neelu, they were so confident. They were like, rock solid. That's why, I don't fail to acknowledge them. She is bigger than ever. That was the thing, actually.
Correct. Yeah, no, I think it's quite impressive, the decisions you took while going through this. I think a lot of people I would not advise to take, to actually take such decisions when they're so emotionally upset, right? So
people, even our relatives, some relative, because they have seen the people dies in 40, 50 days. तो कितने लोगों ने बोला कि नीलू बेवकूफ है, आदमी तो जाएगा और घर बार भी सब खत्म, रोड पे आ जाएगी, forget it. कुछ वाला है.
And on top of that, the other people, they are, mouthpieces. They used to tell, they used to talk about us. अरे दिलीप को तो ये होना ही था, कैंसर क्यों होना था, कि उसके कर्म ही ऐसे हैं. And our own people, मेरे कर्म ही ऐसे हैं. Now just imagine like we are trying to gather strength, we are trying to gather courage. On top of that, when we hear this kind of one sentence which will keep us our moral down and which will take you to the rock bottom. But the same people, when I overcome this particular thing after the autologous bone marrow transplant and when I started, same people, they started talking. अब तो ये होना ही था. उनके कर्म ही है. Same dialogue. The difference was only the tone, the tonal quality. Right? First it was तो होना ही था. Now ये तो होना ही. That was
Yeah.
of experience.
Aarti, you want to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, lots of experience
Sorry, Neelu. Go ahead.
from people we know. तभी बोलते हैं ना, जब phrases are there ना, कि जब दुख आता है तब पता चलता है कौन अपना है कौन पराया. Like that. This cancer जो अगर लाइफ में आता है ना, तो what we say, जैसे सब कचरा लाइफ में से बाहर हो जाता है. Only quality and quality life is there.
Right.
He says na ki thank God. So the same thing when the doctor says multiple myeloma. So my thinking also the same way. I believe Durga goddess. So I just believe, just tell her in my mind, ki, now it's up to you. If you give me back him, and if you want to take him, then also I am happy. So it is totally up to you. What you want to give, I'm ready to accept.
Right.
That. So my mother-in-law and my mother, everybody said, तुमने कोई मन्नत नहीं मांगी, तुमने कुछ क्या? I said, no, I don't bargain with God. I just tell her, this is this. Now whatever you give me, I'm happy. So they suggested कि नहीं तो everybody else had, हम साईं बाबा जाएंगे, हम इधर जाएंगे, हम उधर जाएंगे, and that was the scene.
Oh.
And
yeah, you said that you were told to do various upvas and all, right?
I said, no way. My upvas, my puja is to take care of him. That's all. और जैसे अपर्णा ने की decision. So maybe God gave us that बुद्धि to take that decision. तो उस टाइम भी हमने ये क्या, going with him office, I'm helping him. So I decided, my son was in second year. So that was also our decision. I said, beta, now I have to take your dad. So I cannot give 50% to hospital and 50% to office. So you take a break from study. Second year whole done. You take a break, you take care of office, and I will take care of your father. When everything is normal, you again attempt ना. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एक साल खराब होएगा, doesn't matter. But give me 100%, so I can take care of it. And really it happened कि मैंने पूरा अपना 100% दिलीप को दिया, and he gave his 100% to my office. So balanced. और दूसरा पढ़ना से बात हुई थी कि रिश्तेदार, रिलेट, I understood की जर्नी में कि कैंसर से डिसीज, बट एक नेगेटिव थॉट, नेगेटिविटी जो रिलेटिव्स एंड वो आते, they don't think they are giving negativity. Correct. I am giving them support. But very bad when they come, they say आपके घर में तो देख ही नहीं है कि तुम्हारे हस्बैंड को कैंसर हुआ है, look at you, how you are dressed up. अरे I said why? Oh, why I cry and why I dressed up like कि वो चला गया. So that kills. People don't digest कि नीलू कैसे घर में ऐसे तैयार होके घूमती है, शॉपिंग को जाती है, उसका हस्बैंड बेड पे पड़ा. That accepting वो मुझे बहुत तकलीफ देता था. सब ठीक तो है ना, तो रोना नहीं. अरे मैं किधर रो रही है, मैं नहीं रो रही हूँ. रोना नहीं, चिंता नहीं करना. I said, दिलीप, I can't tolerate all this. मेरे को ना कुछ डर लगता है, सब लोग ऐसा मुझे बोलते, मैं किधर रो रही हूँ. They think I am crying. So एक relative and finance. At time medicines are very, very expensive. Right. So it's need for everybody. So bear that expense.
Correct.
Still, nowadays it's very cheap, but I remember time 60,000, one injection and all. So I Dilip, बेचारे जो लोग के पास कुछ नहीं है वो लोग कैसे survive करेंगे? How? एक दो इंजेक्शन लेंगे, after that they can't.
Correct.
And people says कि आदमी भी जाएगा और तुम्हारा पैसा भी जाएगा. So that they stopped. So I always give counsel the caregiver and all. I always give, you first take care of yourself. You are strong, you are healthy, then only you can take care of the. Am I right?
Absolutely. Right. Sorry, Urvi, please, go ahead and ask. I'll come back to you, Aarti. I think you talked about, I don't know which one you want to do first. You want to talk through the various issues that you had on treatment, Vijay? Do you want to talk through that, or you want to talk about the hair loss first? How do you want
I think what happened after the lumpectomy was, we were told that, chemotherapy, we will see, we will have to, we can avoid chemotherapy is what they said. Maybe minimal 4 start with, right? That's what
it was a stage 1 cancer. So, and it was a very small tumor, according to them. So, and I was pretty young also. So they thought, but my oncologist was pretty sure, like she has been seeing patients. So she was like, I'm telling you, you should have chemotherapy, because the younger you are, the harder the treatment will be because of the longevity. So she said, but Vijay was like, we get so many
so we were by then getting inputs from various quarters. So we were told that, there are some tests which we could conduct to really ascertain what is the risk factor in our case. Because she was very young. She was just 36 and she was very active. So I was like kind of refusing to believe that she has to go through a major round of chemos and all that. So there was a test by name EndoPredict. So where
you need to send the sample and that test alone was 2 lakhs actually. So I was telling, the doctor was telling him like, I'm sure you definitely need to go, but I don't advise you to spend so much money. But he was like, I'm not leaving any stone unturned,
I didn't want her to experience the pain. I said, let's give it a shot, because I wanted to see what is the nature of the problem here. So we had to send that to, I think there are only 2 centers in the
group. It went to Germany.
One in Germany and one in US. So it had to go there and they had to do a test. It took about almost a month for them to come back with the report. But the doctor said, we can't wait for the report to come back. We will have to start the chemotherapy. So let's look at maybe 4 to start with. And
no. The doctor said, let us wait, because we had 1 month window time. We started only after that. The BRCA. It was the BRCA.
Okay, I'm confused between BRCA and so there was one more test we did, BRCA, which was a blood test. Now that again took another month, but they said
based on the EndoPredict results, the doctor decided.
So the EndoPredict results were kind of obviously adverse. So she was in a high risk category of relapse. So the doctor said, no, let's go ahead with the chemo, but in the meantime, let's also take a blood test, a BRCA.
The genetic test, because I didn't have any history, so I had to go for that.
That was another jolt for us. We got a result saying that she's BRCA positive, which is like, you inherited from somebody somewhere in her family. So that was like, again, made the whole treatment aggressive. So she was just supposed to go for a 4 chemo session, and it kind of extended to about 16 sessions. It was quite aggressive. They said, you have a life to live. The doctor's theory was, you have a life to live and we can't take any chances here. So we'll have to give you the most aggressive treatment.
So doctor was saying, like, with the same combination, if a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old had come, I would just leave her with the surgery and maybe give her some medicines and leave it. But since you're really young, even not even reached menopause. So I had to go for a very stronger treatment.
Right.
Like we were, whatever we didn't want to happen, everything was happening. One by one. Okay, no cancer, yes, it was malignant. No surgery, yes, surgery. No chemo, yes, we had to go for chemo. Then rest, it was all falling. BRCA, I didn't want it to be positive. Yes, it was positive. So I, because of that BRCA positive, I had to undergo some other surgeries, which was, to prevent in future.
Right.
So
you had your ovaries removed, right?
Yeah,
And you went through.
I had a double mastectomy. Both the ovaries I got removed. I got my uterus removed all in one shot.
Right.
So it was some 3-4 hour surgery which went. So that's whatever we didn't want to happen, everything happened in a span of say 1.5 years.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was like a slow poison kind of a thing, right? I mean, you were kind of told at every point that the treatment is now expanding or becoming more aggressive. So
people are there, right? They are okay. Only for stage 1 cancer, they are giving you this much of treatment, that much of treatment. Like all that Vijay said, we are not going to listen to anyone. We will just listen to what doctor says. Chalo, we'll decide. We both only decided.
Yeah.
Both my parents as well as his parents, they just stood like a support system, just pillars. They were taking care of the children, cooking, everything was taken care. Vijay and me, we were just going to hospital, doctor reports, that's it. And Vijay put one, told I have so many friends in the sense, so many friends. He just told everybody, just don't talk to Aarti about cancer. Just, if you want to, you take my permission to talk to her.
No, it was not like, so I think that I would say I need to kind of thank some of his friends, especially her school friends, who stood behind her through the journey. I mean, it's been, I think, more than relatives. Obviously, our parents were supportive. Her brothers, they were all supportive. But more than that, I thought her friends stood through the journey. I think there was one
friend who was there for every chemo.
Yeah.
You won't believe she was there for every chemo. And I had visitors for all my chemotherapy sessions. Not even one session was like we were alone. Right. We had visitors.
So we had to handpick people to kind of support us. We didn't want to kind of make this.
No, the nurses in the hospital, they'll come and say, come on, this lady has come and a crowd is going to come for chemo. So that's how it was.
So she had some, props to kind of take for those sessions every time. So
one down, two down, like that.
Yeah, I think her friend brought pictures of their school life, and I think they used to kind of, while the medicine was getting administered, they used to chit chat and reminisce their days in school, and it was like
a picnic, we'll, on a Saturday.
After some time, I think it took some time for us to kind of, get
understand,
get grounded that this is the case.
Right.
But after that, it was, I think, thanks to her friends and obviously our parents for the support system to kind of take us through. So,
yeah, my brother used to come.
How did the dynamics with the kids change over time, right? So, initially you did not tell them, and then now it's become like 18 months.
Actually, my biggest problem of making my children understand was when I had to take my hair off. That was the biggest challenge, because my son never likes me without this fringes and all. He always says, Mama, you look beautiful with this. And so he was like, I don't know how to, tell them, how will I go to my house without my hair? So actually after the first chemo, it started coming out. But
in fact, the doctor actually gave us this thing saying that, after the first chemo, you should remove your hair.
Yeah, before it just keeps there in parts, you go and do a tonsure, tonsure. So before that, I had given my, hair for hair donation because I had a pretty long hair. And I thought, okay, that hair can be used to make some wigs. And I had ordered a wig. A wig also, it was costing some 14,000-15,000. He's like, chalo, it's okay. If you're happy, just take it. Go ahead, have
Right.
it. So that was actually the lowest day in my life, going and give. No, on our own, if we want to give our hair, that is different. We don't feel bad. But suddenly it's like you go and tonsure your head, and I was literally weeping. But the sweetest part, what my husband did was, I was supposed to tonsure my hair on Jan 29. 28th, my husband went and he tonsured his head and came. He said, if you're also like, I don't want you to be alone.
Right. And your son made an interesting comment, right? He said he wanted his Dallas mom back.
Yeah. He used to tell me. I'm sorry.
Take your time. No, it's okay. Sorry, I know these must have been clearly difficult times.
Same way.
I just came back with a wig back home, and I had a curly hair actually. So I just thought, okay, let me try out with a straight hair because I never used to have a straight hair. So I just thought, but they were all like, Mommy, you look different and stuff. But I was so scared to remove my wig actually. So because in front of my son especially, then my daughter was pretty, she was like, I removed it and showed it to her. She was like, Mommy, you look as beautiful as before. So why do you have to feel bad about that?
Yeah, and in fact, after some time, my son also got used to it. In fact, she couldn't wear it all the time. So
Yeah,
she had to
being
remove.
in Chennai, it was so hot, and every time you have to tie that here.
Yeah.
And so they will decide, actually my children, they will decide whether I have to wear my scarf or a wig. They will open the door slowly and see who is there outside. If it is somebody whom we know, okay, Mommy, now it's only somebody known to us are coming. So now you need not wear anything. It's fine to be without your scarf or without your wig. So it was quite funny, and they will used to play with my wigs, and all of them in the family, they'll wear it and see with.
It was a fancy dress competition after some time.
Yeah.
But what happened is, I think, thanks to her, I think her strength, she was like feeling comfortable immediately after a tonsure, that, only with the wig she thought she is comfortable. But over a period of time, she actually, removed it, and
No, it takes some time,
yeah, and also thanks to the doctor, I think they also suggested, right? I mean, you look good in a pixie haircut.
No, but it was not growing at that time actually.
But again, you are wearing a bandana actually, and
because every round of chemo, small sprouts will come, and after that session, you will just rub your head like this. You will find hair in your hand. And all parts of my body didn't have hair. I couldn't see my face in the mirror. When I see through the pictures, I was just imagining how these people were looking at me, because my eyebrows were not there, my eyelashes were not there. So I looked pretty, funny and bloated, pale.
Yeah, your what do you call
the whole thing changes actually. When you face somebody, you're young
your
also,
nails.
but for my look, I didn't feel like I was undergoing some treatment, or somebody will come and ask you that, you're going through this. If not for my hair fall, nobody will not know, right? You're not going through this. But since my children were young, I had to go to their school for meeting somebody or something. My daughter used to feel, oh my God, what? So that was all going in my mind. But she was like rock solid, because one incident, I started getting too many white hairs. So there was one kid who came to my house and said, Auntie, you don't look like a young mother, you look like a grandmother, because you are having this white the hair and all. But I felt extremely, bad. And, then after that kid went, I asked my daughter, do you find me like a granny, or do you find me like a mother? And she said, Amma, why are you worried? Whatever, let her say that, no, you are my mom, however it is, whether you are, with white hair or black hair. For me, you're my mom. So just don't worry about that. So she was, in fact, more matured and calm in handling, yeah, my brother, my son took some time, but kind of,
It took a while for him. Actually, he became so attached to me during that time. So he was like finding it difficult to see his mom in a new avatar. But I think, over a period of time.
But thankfully, we had both our parents in the same roof. It was so convenient. Children didn't feel that loneliness and all. They were like, if this nani nana are not there, they are there upstairs, and they kept moving. So we didn't find that vacuum actually. It was complete. And my brother and my Bobby, they used to visit us quite often. So they kind of, pitched in whenever they had to pitch in. And my friends, of course, they were there all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and
go ahead. Vijay, you're saying something.
One thing which I want to also say is, over a period of time, there is a moment of realization that comes, right? All this is hair loss, or
it's all temporary.
It's all temporary, right? And I think when you see the environment in which you go and meet, I mean, especially the hospital. So we were actually, after a point in time, we were going to the daycare unit.
The day for the chemo.
You just go in the morning and come back in 3 hours after the chemo.
Correct.
So there, we used to see small children.
There was one particular incident which really shook us, like where a breastfeeding kid, that was, that had a vein. The chemo was given in the leg actually.
And it was getting
breastfed actually.
So that was
when we decided, like, we are not going to cry anymore. That's it. Because when we think that we have made some mistake, or this is why we are suffering, all that, what did the child do to, suffer this kind? It was feeding and the chemo was going on. Oh my God, that was the moment we kind of, started realizing that we are not going to complain. We have enough, money. We have enough family support. Everything was there. You didn't have to go to some other place to take your treatment where there are no medical facilities. You had everything. Maybe this is just a part of life. It was an eye opener for us. Like, then we kind of, slowly started. Chalo, it is only this. It's only this. We'll go through this, and that was a changing moment. Actually, I still remember that. That picture is still there in my mind.
Right.
We couldn't take it at all. And how the parents, like small children, they'll be running around in the hospital, and they will call them and make them sit. So that's how it was. And the child never shows that, agony in their faces. They don't even realize that they are going through such a big treatment, and that was a life changer for us actually.
Yeah,
so
and after that we didn't look back. I think after that we took things head on. But until such time, we were not sure. I think we were going through an evolution ourselves in terms of okay, this is reality.
Yeah, it takes some time though. It takes ups and downs, and to come to this level, it has taken a big
time
learning curve. We have come up this thing. That is there.
Right.
But now, actually, sometimes, I feel, yes, whatever has happened such early in our life, it is good, because all our expectations have just gone rock bottom, hit rock bottom. Whatever is there, happy. Yeah, that is it. Enough. We automatically, we bring our children also that way. We expect very less from our children. So children also know, okay, even small things are more, happy, giving more happiness. So that learning, we learned it very early in life. So we subconsciously or unconsciously pass that good thing to our children, the way we bring them up. So that is actually a big lesson for us. So in fact, we are seeing life in a different way, taking things. We have evolved as a better couple. I know him. I appreciate whatever he does. He appreciates whatever I do, and we don't fight for, silly things.
Yeah, that I think that is something which has come through in this whole.
Yes. Yeah, so much love we have for each other eternally. Like, you just understand that your partner so well that you don't even need, it just happens. Yeah, it just happens.
No,
You can't explain it.
I think she wants to say something.
Neelu, you want to say something?
But saying that's true. No need of dialogues. Now,
Yeah, exactly. No dialogues. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you kind of understand, right? I think.
Yeah, without
But looking at the
talking.
face, you know what she's going through. I think she has, I think, estrogen suppressants even today, and she gets those hot flushes, and it's the first menopause on her at this point. So I realized that she kind of, maybe there are moments where she kind of flares up, right? I mean, it's not something which she consciously does.
So that plays an advantage on me, right? Every time I shout, it will be like, okay, hormones. Yeah.
It's something which we have to give the space for them to kind of bring it out, because rather than trying to stop it, it's good to have them. So that's something which I think we complement each other in that sense. I think I also have my own challenges, but I think she.
No, but the interesting part is, before all these episodes, he was a very restless guy, and I was kind of, calm and doing things. But during the first, I mean, that 1.5 years or whatever time the treatment was, he was completely calm. And I don't know what made him change like that. And he took the right decisions. I just kept quiet, and he kind of, brought the whole family under his, he decided, he made the moves. That's it. No questions. Nothing was asked. It was all like going on. And I was like wondering, was he the person I married? I was living with him for 10 years or that changes actually. I don't know.
The dynamic changes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Neelu, question for you, and I'll come to you also, Vijay, on this is, you are supporting your spouse during this period. What was your support system? आपको किसने support किया?
मेरा support system वही, how Aarti says, my friends, some few friends, old friends, they are my support, and my children, me, and my very, very old servant. She is with us from last 25 years. She is actually managed my house, full house that time. And I can say Dilip is my support. That
Right.
support.
Right.
The journey is full. What I say.
So we can see that love. It's not like, I don't know, something that we can.
The most
That
important.
vibration is there.
Yes, the most importantly is understanding each other was very important. Like both of you shared that even without speaking, we used to know what is required. That is the best part. And out of adversity also, what we learned, Aparna, what we learned, how to find happiness in adversity. This is what we learned. And from 10 years of my counseling, this taught me to do lot many things. We started with a charitable trust called Myeloma Friends Charitable Trust. So we are almost like this. Now, since my doctor only encouraged me to do this, Dilip, you have a lot of knowledge.
Right.
You don't even look like patient. You have, as a patient also, you have to big experience. So why don't you do something about that? Because other cancers there's lot, but when it comes to myeloma, there is not much of awareness. And I said, okay, fine. So I took up this, Myeloma Friends Charitable Trust.
Right.
So in years, I must have counseled thousands of, myeloma patients and other cancer patients also. My journey also, like, it doesn't stop there. After my first bone marrow transplant, Immediately I was down with dengue. Then I was
Diabetes.
the
600.
induced diabetes, which went up to 600. You know, then I was in complete remission for almost almost 7 years after the first transplant. Then first relapse, again the chemotherapy started, and I was on maintenance. Then second relapse 2 years back in last 2019 February, and it was this disease. So again prognosis was very poor. Again consulted doctors and again started with the medication, the chemotherapy. And second bone marrow transplant I did in 2009 August. And after that, I'm sitting in front of you with. Currently, I'm on a maintenance until
Right.
today. Practically, both of us, we are spending almost 2 to 3 hours counseling myeloma patients.
Myeloma patients. Right. Right.
Thousands of myeloma patients.
Right.
That,
Right.
that we are getting at. We
Yeah.
are surviving that. Finding happiness, what you said, the mantra actually. Finding happiness in
Each
adversity.
and everything.
Every moment we are enjoying. Every moment we are enjoying.
Right. Right. Vijay, what was your support system?
Yeah, my support system, I think, was my family. I mean, both my parents and her parents. They were like pillars to me all through. And of course, her friends had a very close circle of friends whom I used to kind of share my pain.
Right.
It was more about, I think, as a society, I mean, if you look at patients or people who are going through this, I mean, what I see is, we get into kind of counseling mode or trying to kind of help them give options, right? I mean, can you look at Ayurveda? Can you look at this? Can you look at that? I think what the patient or the immediate caregiver needs is not that. I think they can figure out most of the cases. The patient and the caregiver can figure out what needs to be done, and unless they need some support, I don't think we should offer them. And what is required is more
Listening.
empathy, right? I mean, somebody who could give a hug, somebody could, patiently listen what the pain is. And I had some good circle of people for that. And I think my relatives, my close circle of friends, her friends, I think they really helped, I would say. So they were my, I would say, people to kind of give me the confidence that we could sail through. So
Right.
it's not that I was like strong. I had to vent out my pain to someone, and I think whenever I did, they reciprocated with strength and courage. I mean, it doesn't require anything. You just need a patient hearing, right?
Correct. Correct.
So that is what I believe today, right? I mean, that especially when somebody is going through some critical illness, we shouldn't, as somebody outside of it, and I've seen cases, in my case too, in her case too, where people try to offer support when we didn't want it. So
because we have no idea what the treatment is. Each person's treatment is different, body
Correct.
condition is different.
Yeah.
So everyone goes through that advising mode, like. So, but these things, at least, I mean, like our childbirth happens. Okay, you should have done this. You should have done this. You should have done like that. These things, people have no idea, like what is actually.
And thanks to WhatsApp University, you have all that is required, right? I mean, you get all the news about how to get treated, what medicines, what food you need to take.
Yeah, that's so.
So so again, that's there. That's common knowledge. Today, information is available, so anybody can do that. So what is required is more about. I think that I got. I would say from my friends.
I used to get floods of forwards. Eat pomegranate, your cancer will vanish. Eat that seed, your cancer will vanish. All that, it has already come. How is it going to vanish?
Dilip, do you want to say something?
We have already time.
Yeah, I know. So just a couple of final questions. I think if you can just, we want to wrap up quickly. question for, I think I'll start with you, Vijay, is, and then, Neelu and Dilip is, you all were both reasonably young, right? So, and with all the ovarian, the surgical menopause, etc., it is tough, right? It impacts intimacy issues. Impacts sex life. How did you all handle that?
It was tough. I mean, especially during the period, obviously, we couldn't even broach on the topics because she was going through the treatment. And I think it's about sharing your feelings, right? Being open about what you think. And I think she was very candid in her thinking when it comes to, it's not about having the physical relationship. That's not what it is, right? It's about also trying to, and we have had two children as a live thing about having gone through it. So it's more about understanding and sharing your feelings.
Right.
And over a period of time, and we're still coming out of it, I would say, because her treatment was so aggressive, and she's having suppressants, which is obviously having an impact on her this thing. And even I'm going through it because I've seen her going through the pain, and I don't want to.
No, I go into that guilt mode.
Yeah.
It's like,
but we do share our feelings. We are open about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
during the treatment, we had no chance of thinking about all these things. After the treatment, it was out of question.
Yeah, but we do share this thing, and I think our children is the driving factor. So
Right.
And
No, it was
relationship need not be always physical, right? Beyond a point, it is about understanding.
We have come to that understanding, is what I feel, or I have forced him into that understanding. To that extent, I think it has really affected that. But we don't think that as a handicap, like to a relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it is much more than that. So.
Right.
I don't feel anything, but I don't know. Maybe only the guilt factor, which I will have all my life, is probably had he married somebody, he would not have had to undergo all these things. That's the only thing maybe will be there. But otherwise, I think I personally don't have any,
Right.
because it's already, it doesn't come. That's how it is. The treatment is, that's how it is. But I am alive for my children. That is.
Right. Thank you. I'm very conscious of the time. Any final words, Dilip and Neelu, to our audience, to anybody listening?
For all of them, we both have only one message. Any situation, it's a situation, any type of disease or any situation comes in your life, you have to be stable. That's all. You have to be stable. The situation comes and goes. If you
Right.
are, nothing will allow you.
Right. Right.
See, the thing is, adversities are part of our life. It's a roller coaster life. We always go to a park, or we try to sit in a roller coaster and we feel that thrill. Actually, our life itself is a thrilling life. If you really want to enjoy the life, ride the life. And whatever life gives you, you enjoy that, whether it goes down or whether it's up, whatever it you enjoy taste that thunder. That is what I say. And I would like to say that, first accept, second is forgiveness, and third is create whatever you want to create. And play with your mind. Your mind is the biggest thing which can take you to the rock and take you to the sky high. Basically, I am surviving is because of the stable mind, mind body coordination, and and focused, absolutely focused. Nothing can change your life.
Right. Right. And one word from both of you before we go to Aarti and Vijay on how couples can, make sure that their bond strengthens. Understand. Okay. Thank you. Aarti and Vijay, your final words for
Yeah, I
the
think
audience and for couples.
Dilip mentioned it well. I think acceptance, I think that starts from there. I think that's the starting point. And obviously the love.
I think love shows up only during times of, adversity. So
really, I mean, you get to see that.
Become closer only when when you're happy, I don't think you need anybody. Only when you're sad and, that bond strengthens. So I was just joking to my friends, like, see, what a way to celebrate our Valentine's Day. We are in a webinar for cancer.
And we're talking of love through cancer.
We're talking of love through cancer.
So I would say it's all about love, strength, and courage, right? And obviously acceptance. So it's I would say this embodies our journey. I would say the last few years.
Right.
I would like to share for one more minute when you mentioned about the sex life. After the bone marrow transplant, we were given a high dose chemotherapy, and practically doctor had told me that, Dilip, that time. So he told me that, ultimately you will not be able to perform. And that's where, came into the picture. And what I decided that I am absolutely normal and I am able to perform as normal as this particular thing, the before also. So after 6 months of my, transplant, I was absolutely normal. We were absolutely normal, and we were able to perform. But the situation was, since I was on medical, I'll have to take care of my wife also, because I was also on a maintenance chemotherapy and all that thing. So that situations, we'll have to take care about that. Otherwise, mind creates everything. It creates and it creates cure also. And for us, cancer is not per se. People see that it is cancer and cancer is cancel, right? But for us, C is equal to cure. And lastly, I would like to add here is my ultimate goal is to have a charitable cancer.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and for sharing with so much candor and with so much. I think sharing your experience, it just really came through, and really appreciate that. And it's always it's difficult and it's joyful to listen to experiences. So thank you so much.
Took us to our memories. Down the memory lane,
Yeah. Hopefully you come through stronger based on those memories. So thank you. And thank you to our audience as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.